Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Reasonable Contractor Podcast. I am your host, Ryan Templin, the Reasonable Tech Dad, and we have today a friend of mine done some work on some roofs, a freelance roofer. John Wayne is what he goes by. Technically, his name's John Waite, but I think John Wayne is, that's pretty cool. Some of the people listening might be a little young for John Wayne references, but the people that know. John Wayne, I think, is about as cool a label that you can get, dude. Why don't you tell us your story, John? How'd you get started? Thanks for coming on, and start with that. How'd the John Wayne thing come up, dude? How'd you get that label?
Yeah, thanks for having me. So I was probably 12 years old in a small town in North Dakota, and I would like introduce my name in class or something in what was it, probably middle school then. And people were like, John Waite, like, no, John Wayne. And so since high school, people just started calling me John Wayne, and that's just stuck.
Yeah.
But for like professional business reasons, I like to have my real name listed too, because once actually this homeowner I was working with on a roof in St. Paul, she knew me from music, and everyone only from music knew me as John Wayne, right? But then she like found out my real last name was Waite. Cause I was like, yeah, my name's John Wayne. She's like, oh, that's great. Yeah, I know you. I knew your band from before.
Okay.
And she found out my real last name is Waite. She's like, you lied to me. I can't work with you. So since then, I've been just trying to, even on my like email signature and all that stuff, try to put my real name too.
I've noticed that, dude.
Mm-hmm.
So then how'd the roofing thing start? Were you always did you start as a roof guy? How did you crack into the trades?
Let's see. A friend of mine worked for a company in Wisconsin, and I did my first year and a half with those guys or so. And then, it was just like, in conjunction with music, which to some degree it still is, but now I'm more focused on roofing and home exterior stuff. And it was all right. And I learned a lot. But I just didn't ever expect to like this kind of work either. Like I remember seeing guys, friends of mine that were doing this work years ago, like 2010. And this guy, Mike, I knew, I don't think he has a company anymore. He was like all stressed out one day and I was like, what's going on, man? He's like, yeah, this guy, a partner of mine stole $400,000 from me.
Holy crap.
Yeah, like big money. And that was 2010. What's $400,000 adjusted to inflation now, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But even not that reason that I wasn't interested in it. I just was like, I wouldn't be interested in selling home exterior stuff, you know?
Yeah.
But now beyond the fact the money's decent, it's like, I love it. Truly. I like meeting with homeowners and, building those relationships. A lot of the people that I've worked with, I still talk to. I'll just like shoot a text message over. And it's like, I just realized that I like people.
Yes, same.
Mm.
I have a 2-year electrical degree, and I did industrial automation as a guy out on the floor at a big plant for 3 years after school. And I've been a tech guy too, taken a lot of coding ventures and tried to get into that world because I love tech stuff. I'm a systems guy, and being out on the job site all day in the elements. And I know that's for a lot of people. It was never for me. I would get grumpy after a period of time of doing that.
Yeah, it's tough.
My brain would drift, and it sounds like you're more on the sales side of things. Am I understanding correctly? You've always been more on the sales side, or have you spent some time?
I like
swinging hammers.
Not swinging hammers, no.
Right.
Project manager is like the loose title, right? For most people in my position, and
yes.
I mean to some degree do, but the companies I work for do most of the ordering of materials, and there's a bigger level of project management probably than I'm doing. But yeah, I have ordered some roofs, and I understand that part. But for like a really big job, I like to have a helping hand with it for sure.
I just brought that piece up because I feel like I've walked a little bit of a similar line in that getting into project management has kind of been the nice balance for me with the experience and being connected to those guys. But really, like you said, the connecting with people, dude. Like when I go to a
Yeah.
job and somebody has a vision for their house, or with roofs, I'm sure there's a lot of panic, right? There's people are frustrated or scared because their house is in a mess, right? Something
Yeah.
bad is happening, and being able to be there and be of service and help them find something that suits their budget and really helps
Yeah.
them in a time of crisis. There's a lot of purpose and fulfillment in that, I feel like. So project
Absolutely. I love that.
project management has been a really cool piece for me and being able to talk to people and stuff like that. So, but along those crises, man, I know you got some stories, dude. Like, you got any crazy stories from the roofing days or what? What do we got?
There's never been like a crane drop and it came through the roof or anything like that bad. I've
Sure.
only seen videos of that. Hopefully you've never dealt with that.
Uh-uh.
So I would say like, crisis, not quite that level, but there's a story from a couple of years back. There was a homeowner who I was pretty inexperienced, and the owner of the company I was working for, we had quoted out this, unified steel stone coated shingle for this house. It wasn't like a huge house, but somehow the pricing, like the price per square, was not estimated properly. Okay. And we agreed to do the job, signed a contract, got a deposit, and it was pushed back to the next year, the next 6 months later in the spring. Okay. Cause it was like
Season, yeah.
later in the fall and stuff. So the price for materials had gone up, and like we were realizing the profit margin was going to be extremely low and maybe almost non-existent, honestly.
Right. Underwater
Partially
sometimes.
my inexperience was part of it for sure. And the owner, took responsibility for not looking and realizing that the price for materials had gone up. But beyond that, probably even misquoting it at the beginning. At any rate, what we did would be a standard thing. We supplemented with his insurance, and I sent the homeowner, who I had a good relationship with, a text message. Probably should have been a phone call, but I sent him a text message saying, "Hey man, just letting you know, we requested a supplement for your insurance, asking for more money." And he gave me the thumbs up emoji. So it was communicated, but probably should have been communicated on a phone call. Okay. So what happened is we were starting the project, and then he called me and he said, "Can I swear on this podcast?
Yeah,
Can I
absolutely.
swear?" Oh, okay.
Yeah,
He
by all
said,
means. It's
"I
contractor
fucking
podcast.
love,"
That would,
okay. He said, "I fucking love you, man." I was like, "Oh, really? Why?" He's like, "Insurance just sent me this other huge check. Thank you."
uh-oh.
Meaning he saw,
Uh-oh.
he
Uh-oh.
got to keep all that money, right?
Oh
And I
no.
was like, "Oh, hey, let me call you right back." So I got, the like sales coordinator or like sales manager guy on the phone with him, which I shouldn't have done because he's a bulldog. And he's on the phone and he's like, "No, man, that's our money, but we had a contract that said it. And it was like, and this homeowner was like, "I'm not paying that. We have a contract price. I'm not paying more for that just because you guys got more money from my insurance." And, and the sales manager guy's like, he calls our siding guy who was, there. And then cause it was a roofing and siding job. I should have clarified that, but he called the siding guy. He's like, "Leave the job site. I'm pulling you off."
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
And it just got elevated unnecessarily,
Yep.
probably. And I take
Yeah.
responsibility for communication on the front end, right? But then
People get mad and they
homeowner's
escalate for sure.
so mad. Homeowner was so upset. And then, I was like, "Hey, let's get on the phone with your insurance. They're going to clarify this and clarify why. And we had like an hour call with his adjuster, and he was not happy. He was unhappy. Okay. And it was ugly. Even though his adjuster said, "Hey, your contractor here sent an exactament estimate. This is all legit. We approved it. And this is money owed to them." At any rate, God, he wouldn't answer my calls after that call. And we were nearing the end of the project, and we had put the guys back on the job. We just decided to go through with it, come what may. And I
Yeah.
went to his house and I knocked on his door, siding guys are there finishing that day, or probably the next morning they were going to finish. And he didn't answer his door, even though his car was home, you know? And
Yeah,
I
he
was
knew
like,
he was
oh.
home.
And so but then I'm standing outside, right? Just like talking to our siding guy, and he walks around the side of the house and he gives me a big hug. And he says, I'm sorry, man. And he paid me even before the job was done in
Very
full. And
nice.
it ended up
Nice.
being like the second best paying job I've ever had.
Very nice. And that's when you have good intentions, dude, even through mistakes. We talk about that a lot in here, how
Yeah.
any construction project, it's not what people think it is. And the amount of money that they're committing, like for most people, is the biggest
Mm.
purchase that they're making. And there's a lot
Yeah.
of emotions that get involved when they start to understand. When we obviously know that going through it, but they have no idea that things change like that. You run
Yeah.
into
Right.
surprises,
Yeah.
significant cost swings, thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And just to clarify kind of on that story to help people understand what happened there is that when you guys made the contract and you signed it, that amount is submitted to insurance and approved to be
Hmm.
paid. And then
Hmm.
when the material cost is brought up and you submit extra, then the insurance company cuts a check for that exact increase amount, right? And that's
Mm.
the check that he got. And
Yeah. But it
he
was
had
like
not,
way more.
okay. And he thought that that money was extra, like insurance had cut him a check and that they had already paid you guys. He didn't realize any of that money was going to you guys. Is that kind
Yeah.
of
I mean, and
where the
insurance would
disconnect
never
was?
pay us. Yeah. Insurance would never pay us directly. I've never seen that happen, at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, at any rate, he thought that was his money, you know,
Oof. Yeah.
and he said sorry. And I said sorry, like before that too, that, you know, the issue here was that I shouldn't have texted you about it. I should have called you and
Gotten on the
explained it,
phone.
and that would have
Yes.
cleared it up, I think. But, yeah, it was a lesson for sure for me. I mean, we didn't
Yeah.
do anything wrong, you know, legal aspect or any other kind of way beyond just my communication should have been more than that, just text message, you know, but,
And I think you touch on an interesting point there in text messages versus calls, because as the technology's gotten more common, I think some people, and you got to kind of read your customers and
mhm.
any of your network, and some people like to be texted, right? Over phone call and
Sure.
vice versa. And I think
Hmm.
that even if somebody is more comfortable with text messages, there are certain conversations where you should get on the phone. And
Absolutely.
that's for a lot of people that do our kind of work. That's an uncomfortable thing that you do need to consider, because a lot of people are like, oh yeah, just send them a text, this and that. Like, yes and no. You know what I mean? Or I've heard other people, that are like, well, just call every time. Just get on the phone and call them. Well, some people are working. You know what I mean? These things run weeks and months long, and we're talking about
Yeah.
business hours, and some people don't like to be phone called. They would
Sure.
like a text message. So I think it's important to just be cognizant of the type of communication that you're actively engaged in based on what you're trying to communicate, and try to consider whether a text message is adequate or a phone call is
Right.
necessary, right? So
Definitely.
I
Definitely.
think you touch on a good point there. And since this is for contractors and people in our kind of work, why don't you talk about what makes you good, dude? Like I think the timeliness and get them the quote and the intensity to the timelines, I think probably makes people feel comfortable. I've noticed that with being a very organized guy and calendars and getting people answers where they're not waiting and wondering and leaving things vague is a good thing. What other kind of things do you think makes you good, and what can people take away when they're doing similar kind of work on that front end of interacting with the customer and closing the deal?
Just that I care deeply. I mean, detail
Huge.
oriented. I mean, learned a lot of things from probably having less autonomy earlier on and having more now. So I've been able to, like, you know, learn more about the entire process, mainly with roofing, like siding, as far as ordering it or any of that stuff. I don't have much experience with, but like just that I care deeply and that I'll do whatever I can, and then communication on the front end. And I would rather walk away from a job and communicate clearly on things than just like agree to do something and then have either, I mean, in the end, it is about profit, you know, like a low profit job. I'm happy to walk away from. I have another
Yes.
story like last summer. There was a storm. This was storm related, and this homeowner, I met with them. Most of my work has been through referrals that I've done over the years, but, I had knocked on his door and had a good, rapport with him. And then when it came to the time to do a deposit and pick out colors, he's trying to add all these other things onto the job before he would agree to do it. And, it was like, then we asked for a 50% down payment and he was like balking at that. And he said he was tight on money. And I really felt like he might not pay us in the end.
Yeah.
And I said, thanks, man. I appreciate your time. I think that this might be better suited for a different contractor. Thank you. And, he was so mad. He was so upset, but
Yeah.
like I didn't say anything that I regret as far as, I
No,
communicated clearly, and, and my sales manager, was really happy that I walked
I
away
agree.
from it,
I
you know,
agree.
but communication, I think, is the biggest one. Like that previous story I shared, I think is massive, on like just communicating everything, over communicating, and I
Agreed.
think that gives people a lot of, comfort.
Yeah, I would have guessed the same word. I think
Mm.
you touch on another really good point in the fact that so many people are like, yeah, you need to close the deal. Like, there's no reason the deal shouldn't be closed. Well, how good is the deal if it leads to a job that changes scope or somebody's pissed off, right?
Hmm.
And I think it is important. I think it's super important. The more I do it, of choosing the people you work with, right? And
Yeah,
and I think that
definitely.
when you talk about the first thing I asked you, what makes you good, is you care a lot. I think that a lot of people try to say you have to, like, I think that you have to be one way or the other. You can't make business about emotions, or business is all about profit. And I think that what you're talking about is finding the best kind of balance that a business should be.
Mm.
Because in my mind, at the end of the day, a business should be to serve people and the community or its market, right? A good, high quality business is purpose is to serve people. But a business cannot function without profit and revenue, right? So there has to be, it's not black and white. It can't just be all about sales, and it can't just be all about accommodating everybody and the customer's always right. There's middle ground to walk. And I think
Yeah,
that what's important is what you're talking about is diagnosing people that might not be in a place to afford the kind of projects or services that you provide. So, being able to walk away from jobs is a really good one. And it's not easy to do because feelings do get hurt and the business would rather have the job. But at the end of the day, if it doesn't work, it's bad for both parties, right?
absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was good. I mean, so I do care. I care deeply and I like people, so
Same. Same.
yeah, I mean, I still have people that I text with, from years ago that I worked with because I'm
And the
friends with them.
relationships are what make the business good long term and make you feel good about what you're doing, dude. Those relationships are
Absolutely.
huge, both with people in the business and people and the clients that you work with. So what other things are difficult then? We were talking about all the warm fuzzies. I think we've probably already touched on, some of the things that can come up through lack of communication or, lack of scope clarity, and
Hmm.
material changes are another thing you've talked about. If somebody's looking to identify things that they could do better, are there other areas right now that we haven't touched on that you think are challenging about, roof sales or, exterior sales, those kind of things that could help people?
It's a great
Or have we
question.
touched on the main ones?
Those are the ones I could think of immediately. Uh, yeah, I can't think of anything. I'm sure there's plenty of things, and I'm sure people that are watching this, be, why didn't you talk about that? This would have been a good thing. But
Of course they would.
no, I can't personally think of anything because I haven't had a lot of problems, but
Yeah.
those those areas were good. Walking away from a job is just like, I mean, it feels good if it's not the right fit. It
Yeah.
truly does feel good. And
Yes.
that's something
And
I learned from this guy, Max, that I worked with. Like, dude, he's just like quick to walk away from jobs. There was
and
actually
it might,
some in North. Go
sorry, go
ahead.
ahead. Oh, I
Oh,
was
well,
just
in
going to
North.
talk about
Yeah, go
some
ahead.
people will make it sound like ego, right? Like they're like, oh, you think you're too good to do everybody's job, and because they don't have money, this and that. No, 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 no. That's not it at all. I think more of what feels good about that is that you have enough experience to know when a project is going to, like we just talked about, benefit both parties,
Mm-hmm.
rather than putting the business or the customer in a spot that's going to create dynamics that piss people off. It's the
Mm.
opposite. You know what I mean? It's trying to be of service and being able to identify those situations that aren't going to help people, and walking away does feel good.
Yeah. For sure. 100%.
So, and even if, like, I don't care having a little ego about it, like, fuck these people. Like, if this isn't going to work, this
No,
isn't going to work. Well, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I don't think too much ego. I think just being realistic about it. And I think it takes less ego to, in a way, like, if you think a job, either A, the profit isn't right, or B, like they're going to be difficult and you're going to have problems later, walking away from it, I feel is actually more humble, saying that I don't think this is going to be a good fit. And the true humility, I think, of saying maybe a different contractor would be a better fit, is, I think there's some level of humility in that. And I like that.
that's probably a way better framing. Now that I hear you say that, that's probably a way better framing.
Well, I don't know if it's better. It's just my take on it.
That's good, man. It's good. I'm open-minded. I like being corrected. All right, let's talk about the next generation in the trades, dude. Talk to the kids that are either teens or early 20s and maybe scared of AI. Oh yeah, we could talk about that too. But let's talk about why young people should consider getting into, the contracting world in general.
They should.
What'd you say? They shouldn't?
It's like there's this old like idea still. Here's the reason. Okay.
Okay, let's go, dude. I love
Is
being
that
corrected again.
there's like this 2010 to 2018 idea that's still alive, that this is a gold rush, and that it's just easy money, and like insurance will approve everything and go storm chasing and all this stuff.
That's
Not to say that
definitely
storm
bad.
chasing is, of course, the only aspect of home exterior sales, because I've done a fair amount of retail, but like I would say that is dead.
I would also agree that
Like
that's dead.
I wasn't even like I started in 2023, in the spring of 2023, so I haven't been in the industry that long. And previous to that, just from talking with other people in the industry, like insurance would pay like 700 plus dollars a square on roofing, like if not more, pretty much standard from what I understand. And now it's like a lot of like, you pretty much have to supplement every roofing claim, because
That's
it's
so
like
interesting.
500, 550 a square, which I mean, you can still make money on that, but it's like considerably different than 700 plus dollars a square for a roof. And then for like, if you have to do a redeck, even if it's, code related, I mean, the amount they pay for that seems to be really low. There's certain companies that are even worse. So it's hard work. And if you think you're going to get into this industry and it's just easy, and just because you get on a roof that even has like maybe mild or moderate hail damage or wind damage, there's a really high likelihood, A, they're not going to pay for it. And B, if they do, they're going to try to skimp on all the stuff, and you're going to have to supplement. So if your company does the supplementing for you, great. But if you have to do it yourself, you got to know what you're doing. And there's a lot of moving pieces to going from just having a homeowner say, yeah, you do a roof inspection, and then filing a claim. And then even if it gets approved, to actually being able to make it profitable. It's hard work is the real answer that I want to
Yeah.
give.
Yeah, that's really well said. That's super fair. And that's just so interesting in contrast to what a lot of people say. A lot of these guys are like, yeah, the trades are wide open and, we need to get into it. But I think where you're coming from, correct me if I'm wrong, is that the particular piece of exteriors had a gold rush time. And I think that because it went on for so long, I think a lot of homeowners maybe have that framing of, oh yeah, my neighbor got a new roof or siding and it was paid for by insurance. And insurance companies are not playing that no more at all.
No.
And a lot of the insurance changes that have been built around that are very tight, like you said. And that's interesting because you bring unique perspective to that. Like what happens now? What does a homeowner do if they need a new roof and insurance is not the only answer anymore? So what do you see people having to do when something happens to their roof and they're damaged, like, are people having to plan for that to pay out of pocket?
Yeah,
What are their
a
options there?
lot. Yeah, it's a lot of out of pocket. Materials prices have gone up. So, I mean, gaining some skills in retail sales is important. But the other thing is, like, I don't want to file a claim on a roof that's not very damaged, or at least give them the correct information, you know?
Yeah.
That's huge because that builds trust with people, I think, to not just be like, yeah, just because I got on the roof, now we're going to file a claim. That's fucking stupid, dude. You know,
Yeah.
and you're wasting the time of, I mean, I care a little bit about the time of insurance. I care less about that. Wasting my time. You're wasting the homeowner's time who needs to leave work for a 2 p.m. adjuster appointment because they want to be there. I mean, yeah, so there's a lot of, what's the word? Less than honorable people probably just randomly filing claims, you know, just because they got on a roof. And I want to talk about that, not at length, but just mention it, you know,
Please
because
do. Please do. Because
I
I
don't
just to
want to
reframe what,
waste anybody's time. And I don't want to be a shady contractor who's just hoping that insurance is going to approve it just because I got up on the roof. That's just
I
dumb to
love
me, you
that.
know?
I love that. And I think wrapping that full circle when I was earlier talking about ego and walking away from jobs and fuck some of those people is that those are the type of people I'm talking about that you run into. Like if there's somebody operating with an intention to be deceptive or
Mm,
in what you're talking about with an intention to get profit at the cost of somebody else, whether it's the insurance company or the homeowner, I don't like that either.
mm.
And I think that needs to be called out. And I think the only way to counter that is to take the approach that you're taking and being honest and transparency and talking openly about that so people understand that that's what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, you said it, man.
And that's good to know for people is that like, don't bank on your roof and your siding being covered by insurance someday. You know what I mean? You should understand that that's cost is that's kind of a thing of the past in a lot of
Yeah, I mean,
circumstances.
it still happens. You know, I've gotten a
Right.
lot of claims approved this year, but it was like some
Do you think there's
serious
a
storms.
ratio of how it's changed? Like just a vague percentage, like for that gold rush time, you would say 80% of siding and roofing jobs were covered by insurance and now it's down to X amount, or is it just that it's not that generalized? It's all situational.
It's situational and it depends on the adjuster probably, and it depends on the insurance company and how seemingly generous they are. And it shouldn't matter, but it seems like if a homeowner's had multiple claims in the past, a lot of times it seems like insurance companies are less likely to approve it, even though if there's legit damage, there's legit damage, you know. But
Ah,
yeah, I
that's an
think it's gone
interesting
down
take too.
considerably. You should talk to someone who's been in the industry a lot longer than me about that question, though, you know, because
Yeah,
they would have a
fair enough.
real, all I can base it off is secondhand information and just from what I've seen on the amount of claims to get approved. But like again, I'm not trying to file claims if the roof's not damaged. So, you know, I guess.
I love the humility, man, and I love the honesty and only taking what's in front of you, dude. That's awesome. All right, John, what else, man? Is there anything else you think that the people need to know as far as the roofing trade or stories you got? But otherwise, we can call this good. I think you've shared a lot of good information, and it's been great talking to you, man. I love a way to
Thanks, man.
spend a Sunday morning doing this, dude.
That's great. You know, I got all kinds of stories. I mean, I've been in the music world for years and, I live in Thailand for half the year, maybe not quite half the year, like 4 months and, love motorcycling. I love going to other countries on motorcycles and camping in the desert, like in Mexico and, doing things that bring me joy. And I think that hopefully translates into when I meet with someone in this industry, that I mean, I have a zest for life, truly. I love my life and I have a wonderful wife and, yeah, I have a full life. It's really cool.
That that's a good place to wrap up, dude. Like,
Mm,
couldn't have really said it better. Like, having those other pieces can help
mm.
businesses, right? Help your business,
I
help you
think
treat
so.
people well. So,
Yeah, I think so too.
John, this has been awesome, dude. We'll wrap there, and I appreciate the time, dude. We'll talk more later.
Thanks, Ryan.
All right, buddy. Take it easy.
Take care.